Unfiltered Podcast. Honest and uncensored opinions. With Larry Dickerson and Michael Panetta. And now, the Unfiltered Podcast.
The Unfiltered Podcast is being brought to you today by the folks at Focusrite. With a full line of audio interfaces, they can make you sound top-notch and professional. So check out Focusrite.com today and see what they have that'll work for you. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show, and we have a lot to talk to you guys today about. And we have quite a bit of information to sift through, and what we really want to talk about this show is our experience at CES. And we have a lot that we did. Tomas and Larry experienced CES for the first time, and you know there's a lot we want to talk about and go over. So we're just going to jump right into this. Welcome to episode 21. And Larry, how are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'd be better if my audio was better instead of using the microphone on the Mac. So I apologize to people ahead of time for that because it sounds
good to me, man.
Sounds like
good.
crap. Yeah, it always sounds good to you. And of course, we have our very special guest, Tomas Villegas.
Yes. Accentuating my last name as usual.
Always.
Smack the corn out your hand.
How you doing, Tomas?
It's going good.
Awesome.
Playing catch up all week.
No, I hear you. I have a lot going on over here as well. But really what we want to talk about with you guys today is post-CES. Everything that we experienced, that we saw, and we may not have necessarily had on video, but just to talk to you guys about and get into it. But I guess the first thing I really want to ask you guys, Larry and Tomas, I guess if Tomas wants to start first, it was your first experience at CES. Is it what you expected?
It's more than what I expected because the convention centers there was more than just one convention center. And because we were, touring we were trying to get as much detail as possible, but there was just so many areas to see. We didn't even see the South Hall. I didn't because I had to leave on Friday, but it was a really overwhelming experience. If you're trying to shoot video and do that all by yourself, I think it's a pretty tough task.
Yeah. Now, Larry and I did roll through South Hall a little bit on Friday, but Larry, what was your overall experience of the show when you first got there? Like, did you expect it to be what it was, or were you just like, Jesus, this is huge?
That's what she said. Quite honestly, it was, to me, everybody kept saying, there's going to be stuff you're not going to see. Don't worry about it. And in my head, I kept thinking to myself, which I'm sure everybody does on their first time, I kept thinking, it cannot be that big. It just can't be. That's what she said. But it just can't be, But, I mean, there's the North Hall, the South Hall. South Hall has 2 levels, which I don't even think we went to the lower level.
No.
And then Central Hall. Yeah, it was a crazy amount of stuff. So it was definitely more than what I expected, but it was nothing different than what everybody told me to expect.
Did you either of you just feel overwhelmed when we first went in? I mean, even getting there, just pulling up to it, that everything that was outside, everything that was going on, around the front. I mean, were you like, what the hell is this? And was that overwhelming at all, or was it walking in and realizing just how many booths there were? Just in the North Hall alone.
If we started in the Central, I would have been like, whoa.
Yeah.
But no, we started in the North Hall, and it kind of put everything into perspective.
Right.
I think that was the best plan, too, because I bet you if Tomas and I went there by ourselves and it was our first time, we would have jumped in Central right away.
Right.
And like I said, that would have been crazy.
Yeah, there was a lot going on in Central. That was probably the busiest the first day. Because in Central Hall, guys, that's where like Samsung, Nvidia, Microsoft, everyone, Kodak, Panasonic, Sony, all the big boys, their cameras,
LG.
the TVs, LG, a lot of the off brands that are bigger there. I mean, when you get in there and you realize you see a Samsung in the booth they have, and then you go see like someone you've never heard of, and their booth is just as big.
Yeah, that was weird.
What were was there any booths that you were like, why the hell is that so big, and who are they?
It was the one. I
Harrier,
don't even-
whatever, right?
Yeah.
Higher. Yep.
Higher.
Every
Yeah.
year they're in that same spot.
And it was huge.
Yeah.
It was what was it, across from Intel, right? Intel had they had a corner
Yeah.
of the convention center, which I think that was probably the biggest. But yeah, that one, they had that huge, I think Sergeant Ballistic did a video on it, that gaming driving simulator thing, and then they had
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, 1,000 TVs and a big huge stage area set up. But I mean, I guess that probably, because it is the international, it's international, so I guess there's like Korean companies and different companies that we probably don't get to see here in the U.S. that are bigger companies.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. And I mean, I don't know how much those things cost for those booths or whatnot, but I mean, you go in there and you see people like Spec, what they dump out for a section that they had.
Free beer
For everybody. Incipio, they put out they had that giant booth and it was all closed in. Same thing with that speaker jam or whatever. Come on.
Mophie was like locked down.
Mophie, yeah.
You had to have a special invite to go see what they had, and I was just like, cases, come on.
Yeah, well, they had that one that's the indestructible case. I think
That was hidden.
Isn't that them?
No,
that was in case, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
was that in case? Oh, okay. Yeah, they're another one that was just kind of like, I could do with or without them. I like seeing the other people on that. Now, we did hit the North Hall to start, and I know that it wasn't necessarily something that Tomas is into heavily. A lot of that is accessories and cases and stuff like that. But Larry, what was your impression of the North Hall? What was the things that kind of stuck out to you, if you can even remember? I know it's all kind of a blur right now.
Oh, the North Hall. My experience was it was the first aisle and a half. It was, you could tell it wasn't the top, the top people were against the wall on the farthest side. I mean, there was Bluetooth controlled panties on that aisle. There was a lot of weird stuff down that aisle. But I mean, that being said, there was some really cool stuff. Like I think Tomas and I both agree. Like there's the layover for the keyboards. They have like a rubber layover for Adobe and Final Cut and different stuff. That was in that first row. But what I learned in the first row is by watching Mike and just talking to people. By the time I got around that row and up to the next one, I was pretty comfortable with how I wanted to talk to the people in the booths.
Right.
When I first walked in, I wasn't sure how to present my card. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to say and what I didn't want to say to people. That is the I knew that one. I knew the proper way to present your card to an Asian person. But yeah, so that was, I mean, to me, it took a couple aisles to really just learn how to talk to the people at the booths. And by the time we got into the third aisle, I was a lot more comfortable just talking to the people.
I think, again, and this is my fourth or fifth year, and I still made the mistake of maybe we should have just blown through everything the first day and just walked everywhere, and then went back the second and third day to what we wanted to see. And even if we saw something on the first day to stop, it was really important to do that. And again, I actually started taking notes the second I was on the plane, just thinking about, things that I thought I made the mistake on and probably could have done better for you guys on that. But you get in there and you're just like, oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. And you feel like,
I mean, but that being said, we spent pretty much the first day in the North Hall, the second day, whatever. But the third day we did nothing.
Right, and that was tough.
I mean, we got a later start. Tomas and I did some shooting in the morning. Mike did some shooting in the hotel room and sleeping. And then
that was sick.
And then we had a meeting. And then we met up with some guys later. And then that pretty much took the rest of the day. So really, Thursday was nothing.
Right, that was tough.
Yeah. So I mean, if we,
I wouldn't say so. I'd say that was a pretty good. That was a good use of the day. I mean,
No,
you could have
yeah,
got
yeah.
up earlier, but later in the night, I think we utilized
later
that
in the
time.
night.
No.
perfectly.
I'm not saying that it was a waste, but I'm saying if you're just talking about getting around the convention center, I mean, we
Yeah.
literally did nothing on Thursday. If we had that day, I think we probably could have saw and Friday. But Tomas, you didn't. I don't think we really talked about it. You didn't miss anything Friday because by the time we made it, everybody was shutting down.
Yeah.
Like they were supposed to be there another 4 or 5 hours, and they were done.
They were
People
already
just
done.
wrapping up. Yeah.
And that's the thing that really people that we talked to, you could tell who the people who were, and I don't want to point anyone out, but there was a booth we went into after someone told us to go there, and that they had a new product, and we walked in the booth, and there was 2 of the guys there, and there was nobody else there, and we went up, and we were very, very, hey, how's it going? How are you guys? We love your products. We think you guys are real good. Hey, you want to give us a little bit of a, heads up what you guys got going on? And they were like, yeah, we got stuff. And we kind of had to, draw it out of them a little bit. And then we're sitting there going over the 1 or 2 things that they showed us. And then, of course, I'm not even realizing it. Larry goes, hey, don't you have this coming out? And the guy goes, oh, yeah, I got it right here. Well, this is your new thing. We asked you if you had new stuff. And this is the newest thing you had. And Larry had to draw it out of you after we were there for 10 minutes talking about it. And then you finally told us. And it was like, it boggled my mind. And I said, well, we'd like to contact you or get in touch as far as doing review units for things like this. And he said, oh, here's a card. Call this number and ask for this person. It's like, well, then what are you? Why are you here? It was a total turn off in my opinion. I don't know what Larry thinks. I mean, I understand.
No, I think those guys were watching the clock and were ready to go and didn't really care to, it was the end of the however many days they have been there and setting up. So I don't know. It was quite honestly, I can't think of anybody that really turned me off to them just because it was so new to me.
Right.
That I didn't really get offended or anything because I didn't know how it really should work. I mean, if somebody personally offended me, then I would remember, but I don't remember anything like that. I mean, I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it was weird that we said, what do you have new? Because somebody had already told us what they had. And then it took 20 minutes to get to it. And I had to say, well, I thought you had this. And he's like, oh yeah, here it is right here.
I mean, he literally had it around his neck.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fudge? You gotta be kidding me. So yeah, that kind of bothered me a little bit, but I understand it was the end of the day and whatnot. But we did talk to some great people in that hall. At that same time, we talked to Gola. We talked to the guy that had the magnet mount. We talked to him, got his information. He went through everything, all of that for us. We talked to a couple other people, but I understand, and I think that was a little bit of a turnoff. But we didn't even go to the first floor of the South Hall, which. If I would have taken, that's the first hall I went to, the first year I went to CES, and I was ready to leave because I didn't recognize any of the companies that were down there because they were all from Shenzhen. Everything was Shenzhen and then the name of the company. And, you just walk up and you're like, Shenzhen Electronics and, all this. And there was a few of those. There was a few of those in North Hall and, spread all over the place. But, it was very interesting. To say the least, and I like getting your reactions to everything that was going on, and what you saw. But I guess the question that I want to ask now is, Larry, what was the thing that impressed you most? What product impressed you most at the show? Were you like, oh, that's something that that's gonna kind of shake it up a little bit this year?
I think a few people have asked me that since I've been back, and. Honestly, I don't think one thing, the 8K TVs were really cool, but I don't think that's...
We're not going to see that.
Yeah, that's not a reality.
That.
Yeah. I think, there's a couple places in China or something somebody was saying, or Japan. But anyways, I guess, quite honestly, I think because I did a whole video on it, and I'm glad that it seems like a lot of other YouTubers had the same idea that we did when we first got there, is the Sharp booth. The stuff Sharp's doing, I think the freeform displays were probably the one thing that keeps sticking out of my mind. Aside from my HC X1000 camcorder. But that's a personal thing. People aren't asking me about that. But I think those freeform displays, the see-through displays, the mirror display was but that bezel-less TV,
that was pretty cool.
I mean, I just thought Sharp was killing it. And then the other thing that I heard, I can't remember where I read it, The Verge or somewhere said that Nintendo's next handheld is going to be using that freeform display technology.
Well, that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, so I'm curious of what they're going to be doing. So to me, it was pretty much everything I saw in the Sharp booth. And I think that was day one, wasn't it? Didn't we make our way over there at the end of the day?
Yeah, that's kind of what we were hitting up. Could you imagine that Nintendo display, like having the whole screen be the whole thing, and you have the buttons in the middle of where you're playing?
I would.
You know what I mean? Like that would be badass.
Yeah, I think it's going to be bigger than that. Nintendo's a small. It just resonates with our audience because of the geekiness to it. But I think it's going to have a huge impact on how vehicles are manufactured.
Oh, that was the biggest thing there. I think is what Larry talked about in his video was you see the dashboards. That's exactly where you're seeing it. And no longer. Are you going to have a single display for everything that you have? It's going to be all, you can pick whatever you want, pick what color you want. You can put your odometer to the left or to the right, or, you're going to be able to have the whole thing be like we saw in the one car, the whole thing was a map.
The Audi.
In the Audi, it was the whole map in the in-dash, where your controls are. So that was interesting to see that as opposed to having it, on your center console. It was where your, all your information was.
Well, in that Audi, it showed the map, but I thought the coolest thing was, and Tomas pointed out to me, is that it was the gauges, but then it looked like it was beyond the gauges was the road. Mm-hmm. Like it was showing a curvy road to show you what was coming ahead. Mm-hmm. It was, that was really cool too. So
yeah, and again, that's something, I don't even know if we're going to see that. These are things, a lot of these things you see, most you don't. So...
Well, Tomas, what stuck out to you?
Yeah, I want to know that.
Oh, probably just as far as technology, I don't think anything like super surprised me. I wasn't super like, it was more of the experience itself is probably what stuck out most to me. Like being able to put faces to play buttons. I don't know how many times I said that to people, seeing the Kenson brothers and TLD and Lou. It was just weird to put a 3D personal face and have a handshake to a play button. Essentially, that was probably the most standoutish part of the whole situation.
Yeah, I really like what Sony's doing with the optic image stabilization.
Oh, and making 4K affordable, so you're going to see YouTube.
Yeah.
When that goes live. Everybody's going to be shooting 4K.
Yeah, the camera they have, guys, it's 4K for 1,000. They said 4K for 1K. And if that camera comes to fruition at what they're looking for and the quality, we literally sat there and shook our hands like this, and it was still a straight picture.
You can see the lens correcting itself.
Yeah, the lens, it was crazy.
Yeah, they had setups for what they have for their action cam, for that camcorder, and I thought something else too.
Phone.
Yeah, the phone.
They're on a phone.
And it had them one with optical image stabilization on and one off, and it was a table that was on springs and it was moving, and it had two TVs as monitors, and one was stable as can be, and one was shaky. It was impressive.
Yeah, it was neat. It was really cool to see. Now I know we also saw like some other companies jumping into the phone game, and one of them was Panasonic jumping in with a phone and the camera. And we got a little bit of hands-on with that. I know you guys are playing with it. I was somewhere else, and I eventually got over and got a nice hands-on with the guy, went over everything with me. And Danny had a really good video.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that the camera should be the main focus of that, or do you like the idea that they're moving into the phone, and like, is it needed?
That phone is too big.
Yeah.
I would never buy it. Just because it's got a protruding lens. Yeah, it's got its processor. What is it? The Zenith processor or whatever from Panasonic. the camera isn't Android powered. It's powered by Panasonic and everything. Yeah, it's a great concept, but they need to shrink that lens.
The phone's Android powered, just the processing, right? Because the phone had what was it, Android 4.4.2 or
and that's the other thing. It didn't have the latest and greatest.
No, and to me, but I'm opposite of Tomas. I would buy that phone. The size doesn't really bother me that bad as long as the battery. I can't remember what the battery was, if they even told us a spec. I don't think they did. But
no, as a matter of fact, I think
it was a big battery because the body's huge.
2600 milliamp is what it was.
Which with that and that display and everything shouldn't be that big of a deal. But to me, a lot of what I look for a phone. I mean, you guys know I carried around my iPhone and my Note 4, and my iPhone was just to take pictures because it's a better quality of pictures for Instagram and that kind of stuff. So, to me, I would buy something like that. I've always looked at getting that Windows, that Lumia.
Oh yeah, the Lumia one.
1020 or whatever it was that has the. But I never did because it was a Windows phone. I mean, I'm not that ridiculous. But I mean, with kids and stuff, 90% of the pictures I snap are on a phone. So it would be nice to have something like that to where you don't have to grab some type of point and shoot or another camera. You literally have something good, which I still don't. I still just use my my one. But I mean, I would definitely, that one actually. Now you're you're naming off a bunch of things that I sort of forgot about. And I would definitely that really were exciting. I mean, Panasonic had a great booth too.
Yeah, Panasonic had a really good booth. You know what disappointed me was Polaroid. I loved the camera.
Look at Tomas fighting words.
The camera block that Tomas has, that was a home run.
That's a cube.
The cube. The newer one they have is a home run with to be able to zoom in and zoom out. But that big camera thing that would print to like this inkless thing, I wasn't feeling that. And
you can't imagine having that around your neck with like a neck strap.
Everything was like this big.
It'd be like Flavor Flav.
But that's beyond that. Who is that pointed to?
I don't know.
60-year-olds that have had that before. I don't think it's for kids.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. I think him having to put it on the thing like that, it didn't work out as well, and maybe that was just a review unit.
When you hit print, do you remember how like simplistic the interface was?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it was pretty basic. But you know what? There's other products out there that'll look better that do the same thing.
Is there inkless printers out there?
It's not inkless, but you get good quality photos out of it to do something like that.
Well, I mean, you think back to Polaroid. How good were those shake-its? You know what I mean? I think it was driven to trying to bring back some of the past.
I gotcha.
Yeah, they weren't expensive.
Look what Instagram does. I mean, we put filters on our pictures to try to make them look old.
Make them look old, yeah. Good
so
point.
It's like, it's sort of that nostalgic thing everything old becomes new again.
Yeah. No, you're right.
The one thing that I thought was real, and I mentioned it in my video, and I can't remember the name of I call it the new cube or whatever, but I think the biggest thing that has is the Bluetooth, where you can you have an app that you can control and use as a viewfinder.
Right. That's just like the HTC. Right?
No more guessing.
But just like when you use a GoPro or whatever, that's in the HTC Re, same thing. I don't look at that. I don't look at my phone all the time.
But
it's such a wide thing. You're in there somewhat. It's nice
the Re is designed to be held that way. So it's guaranteed. If I start a recording like this, it's going to be in portrait mode.
Right.
And
it can be even just a little bit off axis like that, and it'll flip. It's whatever, the gyroscope in there has got to be.
Well, you usually start your videos in portrait, don't you?
We're fighting.
You know what? You know what's another topic about Polaroid, and I don't even think you guys realized it, or it's just that we may have saw it and just kind of moved on. But the Polaroid phones that they had, did you guys
for emerging markets? Yeah.
Yeah, for emerging markets. It was funny. I saw someone talking to them about this, and they said, okay, well, you're Polaroid, and you're doing a phone, but the camera's not, isn't superb like Polaroid's supposed to be. I think if you're going to do a phone, it's got to be Polaroid camera quality and
What's
phones.
Polaroid camera quality?
And
junk.
And phone
you know
second.
what I mean? Polaroid's known, like we just said, for crappy little 2x3 pictures.
And that's the thing that made me laugh. I'm like, well, A, you didn't mention that this is for emerging markets.
Well,
It's not
but that not all of them were for emerging markets. There were
right.
some U.S. phones in there, but it was the same thing. It was a low end
It's
it
a
was a
low
low
end.
end phone.
It's a
Yeah.
low end phone. So I was like, that's not really the point of it. And the woman said the same thing. She's like, no, this is
Yeah.
supposed to be something different. So
Yeah, even the ones for North America, they're cheap.
Yeah.
I still know people that don't want smartphones, so
No.
this is kind of pushing them in that direction, regardless.
exactly, and that's if
And
they
the nostalgia gets associated with old, so Polaroid gets associated with it, and they may feel more comfortable jumping into something that
Right.
I don't know.
if it's simple,
You and
why
I
not?
function different on a different level. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's why there's many choices as there are. Is we may sit there and say something doesn't work for us. We have to be cognizant when we're reviewing something to say this doesn't work for me, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't work for you. And many more people are realizing that as they're doing their videos and doing their reviews, that just because I'm telling you that I like something or I'm doing something, a certain way with something, doesn't mean you're going to use it the same way. And that's why people always ask, oh, what are you using? Oh, Verizon. Oh, Verizon sucks. Okay, where do you live? Okay, Verizon stinks where you are. So people always ask, what's the best carrier?
And even to piggyback off that, I mean, it's still the fact that you, I, and our audience have to have the top spec type stuff. We need instantaneous. Right. We need it to act now. People still run like 90% of the market runs on magnetic hard drives where they click and they wait, and they wait and they wait. You know what I mean? That's our audience is different.
Yeah.
They need high spec phones, the G Flex 2 type stuff.
Certainly. And
those phones are for people that are used to waiting for things.
All right, since you brought it up, that's a good story to segue into is the LG G Flex 2. And I'll start it off and we'll just jump
go ahead,
in
because it's your start, Larry, so go ahead.
Well, we walk in, was this day 2, right? End of the day? Was it day 1?
Well, day 1, but day 2 of us being there.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first day of CES, we walk in. It was after North Hall, and we walk into Central, right? And I have my HTC re-up, and I'm doing a little vlogging or whatever. And this lady says, "Oh, is that the HTC re? Oh, that's cool. How do you guys like it?" Mike had his, and then we look down and Mike realizes she's from LG, and he starts yapping and saying, "Hey, we want to look at that G Flex, whatever." And then she was very nice, because I think she was on her way out the door.
Yeah.
I think that's why she was up front, because later on we found out she had a flight and she had to leave. But she walked us back and literally pulled out the LG G Flex 2, handed it to Mike and Tomas. I mean, we're messing with it as we were walking back to the main booth. We weren't actually in the LG booth yet. We were on the outside of it. And nobody else at that point, I've seen a few since, nobody at that point had posted any videos of an untethered phone. It was all sitting at the display, showing them whatever. So Tomas is filming Mike, and we get over there, and I'm holding it up for Tomas, and he's filming. We're all filming stuff with it, and she ends up saying she's got to go. I think we gave her the phone back, and then somebody, I don't know who, it may have been me or Tomas or Mike or somebody said, well, we gotta bend the phone, right? We gotta flex it. That's what, I mean, it's called
Mike
G-Flex.
played block and he was talking to her, and we went over there to the table and bent the hell out of it.
Yeah, so we put it, you can see this in Tomas's video. He did a video on the phone, and I set it on the thing, and then I just start pushing it down and flattening it up on the, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. I don't know how many times you show it in the video. But the thing that was strange about it that you don't see in the video or even in Lou's video is that, get out of here, is even in Lou's video is that it didn't turn back on. It worked when I set it down. I bent it, and then I picked it back up and tried turning it on. It didn't work. I tried the knocking on the front. It didn't work. And then I'm like, and I just gave her the phone back, and then
She was talking to someone else, and we bolted.
Yeah, but I don't feel too bad. One, the phone is supposed to do that. They advertise it doing that. But the other thing is, I talked to Danny later, and he said the Flex 1 had the same issue, and what it is the battery. Something happens with the battery, and you got to reset it.
But it has a built-in battery that's flexible.
Yes.
Right.
So Again, it's early. It won't be released for a while. We got a source that says it's not going to be out until what?
June,
Yeah,
August.
something
June,
way
July,
later in the year.
something like that. Yeah.
But
So they still got some bugs to work out.
Still an awesome phone though. I'm definitely picking that
I was
up when it
freaking
comes out.
surprised. It's a 5.5-inch screen that's one-handable.
Well,
I
that's
was
the
like,
same thing with the
wow.
LG G3.
Yep.
That's what made me so impressed with that. Is the fact you're not screwing with buttons on the sides. They smartly put it on the back. And when everybody first saw that, they were kind of But man, that 5.5-inch screen.
once you get that phone I had the G3 too, and once you use it for a couple days, I mean, literally when I went back to a different phone, I was wishing the buttons were on the back. I mean, it is. You don't think about how convenient it is. I think that's going to be a great phone.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm waiting for some sort of not buttons on the back for phones, but a touchless technology. And that was always something that Apple was always rumored to have.
Oppo's got it.
Oppo does have a touchless, like something on the back. Okay.
Yeah, a fingerprint scanner, and I think the new one, if I remember Danny and Marco's videos from Singapore, I think there's something more on the back with it now, or something. I can't remember, or no, maybe it's the old one that was a whole area where you could do gestures.
Oh, okay.
And the
That's
new
cool.
one, I think it's just the.
Well, I think Apple could do something with the Apple logo back there. Something.
Yeah, there's always been rumors, but I mean, they have so many, and all that comes from patents that
they're never gonna do anything with. But yeah, that G Flex 2, that was
fun.
That was funny. Please check out Tomas's video.
Please.
It's super boring.
It's very desperate.
Voiceover, but you guys can deal with it.
He's sometimes he sounds like a robot, but I'll be.
I'm learning, you guys.
Mike and I will attest, though. This is how he is in real life.
Yeah, he's very mild, meek and mild.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, man, if you get him going,
it gets fun.
He don't stop.
What we ate? Let's take a little detour here. We went to Strip Burger, and Mike bought me a Hefeweizen.
And Tomas got wasted.
Fun. It got fun.
Drunk. He had a hard time walking, guys. It was hilarious. He's like all tripping. It's like, yo, what are you doing?
Wait, I took us up one too many levels. Remember, you guys were following me. We went up. I'm like, crap.
There's two things I learned. Don't follow Mike ever, no matter if he drank anything or not. And Tomas, if he's had one beer, he's off no navigation.
100% of the time, Mike was off.
Well,
100.
Here's the thing. You guys wouldn't stop following me, so I'm like, all right, I'll see if we can try it.
This is the guy that says, "Hey, I've been here 5 years. I got this. You guys I'll show you what's up." And then we're like, "All right." And then like after the first day, we're like,
they changed it around.
Never again.
I tried to do you know what? And the thing is, we should have used the maps on the phone more than we did. I think that helped out. Hey, at least I got us to the YouTuber meetup quickly.
Very quick. You knew where that was, like.
I didn't want to mess
some
that
kind
up.
of GPS thing on Jonathan. He's got some kind of Find My Friend or something.
I can't believe we I almost made us late for that. Like completely missed it.
We had plenty of time. For those who may have watched my vlog, I have a point in there where Larry jumps in with Jonathan to do something a special part for their compilation that's coming up, and
it's gonna be hot.
Yeah, it's actually gonna be really cool. And I'm gonna tell you, man, meeting all those guys and seeing all those guys. Some of them I haven't met before. Some I have. Most of them I have. It was so cool talking with them guys. And out of the blue, Jonathan just says, "We're going to dinner." Okay. I'm thinking John and Kevin and Josh, and maybe a couple other guys, with us. I wasn't sure who was going. They all came to dinner. I expected them to find something better to do than hang out with us. But it was
like 4 hours too.
They hung out with us for 4 hours, and I don't want to forget anybody, but we had Lou,
Your Average Consumer,
MKBHD, Austin Evans, Jonathan, Amy Schmidt-Tower, Josh and Kevin Kenson, and I think that was everybody that came, and that's awesome that we had all those guys.
And Marco.
Oh, and Marco was there too. And, we know Marco. That was
Marco, they
just-
hanged out with us like every night.
Yeah, we saw Marco every night because they wanted to use our internet.
I'm just painting the picture.
Yeah, and it was just we had an absolute blast. Larry brought up my past again with everybody, and that's about how red I was. You see Larry in the thing right there. That's about how red I was.
That was so much fun. Like, I'm not gonna get into all the details of everything. I mean, I'll let Mike, whatever he wants to talk about, that's fine. I'm not gonna really talk about too much, but yeah, just cracking on Mike was fantastic.
Yeah, it was fun. It was
but-
fun.
Everything got squashed from that.
Exactly,
So.
but that's what I was gonna say. By
Yeah.
the time it was done, it was. I think everybody.
It's done.
Yeah, it was done.
Hmm.
So let it go.
And it was I think I don't know and whatever. I think they half expected us to go with them back to back into their hotels or whatever their room. I don't know. I mean, they had a lot of work to do, so I didn't want to get in the way.
Yep.
Because as we can all see, there was videos that came up recently that were all done that night.
Yep.
So they clearly had a ton on their plates. And like almost all of them had something from that night that was on there. So I'm glad I was out of the way. I didn't want to be, in the middle of anything or feeling like, we were an extra wheel in what they were trying to accomplish. But yeah, Larry definitely had me going.
Well, and to sort of backtrack, like it was to me, and maybe me and Tomas were sort of on the same page with this, but we walked up, they were having the meetup at the Verge, and it was actually, I think, before they did the Verge cast, but we came in the middle of the Verge cast,
Yeah.
and we walked up, and Mike knows those guys, so Mike gravitated and was talking to those guys, and me and Tomas were just sort of like, this is cool, and we were just sort of hanging to
chilling.
the back, and then I think Tomas said hi to Lou, and then because Lou was not on the stage with everybody, and then I think I said hi to Josh and Kevin because I had met them the previous night, and but then I went up to say hi to Lou because we had done the podcast, and I just to say hi, not be rude or anything. I wasn't going to bother him, but then I was talking to him, and then once the thing's done, Austin comes over and says hi to me, which was weird. And then we just all
Knew
started.
who you were. He watches your videos.
That was weird for me. That was probably one of the weirdest. Well, and then the thing with Jonathan.
That's awesome. I can't wait to
Very
see
very
that.
weird. But not what we shot, but him just even asking. But it was sort of organically, just sort of like Mike said. We were just hanging there talking.
Right.
And it was a really cool. And anybody who hasn't met them, like myself, Tomas has chatted with them before, but we've never met face to face. And these guys, every one of them that we talked to, were just real cool dudes. I mean, and ladies. Amy was really nice too. But it was just a real nice experience for those guys to just meet those guys, and them not to be anything more than just regular guys. Sometimes you meet people and it's not a good thing. I think I tweeted after we met them something about nice to meet these guys, blah, blah, blah. And I hashtag glad they weren't dicks or something like that. Because sometimes you meet people and it sort of destroys it for you, And these guys were all super humble, super nice. Even later on the night,
everything.
we got a lot of good info from them, a lot of good advice that was, just unsolicited. Them just talking, it was just to bring some of that knowledge in was, ever since I've been home, I've been rethinking a lot of stuff that I do. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, just the flow of everything out of the Verge, and when we started walking, John's like, "Don't go anywhere, stay with us, stick around. We just have to do one thing."
That was weird.
And we're like just kind of walking, and next thing I know, I find Marquez walking next to me. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? No, nothing. And we just kind of start shooting the breeze. And then all of a sudden, like, people like start coming up to Austin and Lou and oh, can we get a picture? Can we get a picture? And, it's just so funny. You're just like, well, they don't know who I am, definitely. So I'm just going to move to the side here.
I took pictures for Marquez like twice.
Yeah.
Here.
I feel bad. I had Tomas take pictures for me too.
That's funny.
I had about 50 of them that were blurry as all hell. He wasn't used to that big old phone or something.
That trash.
We got.
Oh, God.
Did you put in Or did I put in? Oh, I put in the video with you and Chewbacca, Larry and Chewbacca. I
Oh,
had
did yeah.
But I think we should backtrack a little bit. What about Danny and them coming through? That was a little weird. For me, it was, but you guys met it before.
No,
Yeah.
I had never
the
met him.
first night we were there, Danny, Marco, correct me if I'm wrong, Dom, Anthony, who is Dom's brother, who is a really cool dude.
Way cool.
Joel.
Joel, JB Vlogs, 17. Yep, Joel.
I think, and Marco. And
Marco, you already said Marco.
Danny. Yeah, they were all in the room.
Yeah, we were hanging with them for a bunch of nights. I mean, that's not. We're specifically talking about one evening. We hung with them just about every night. And then later on, Sergeant Ballistic, you can call him Brian. We hung with him a lot. He was a really cool dude.
He's a good kid.
I was surprised again because he's just somebody I just didn't know. And then later on, I met and Mike we hung out with, but I had met for a few seconds before is Bo HD from Phone Dog.
Oh, that dude was so cool.
He was really cool, super laid back dude. And I mean, like I said, there's not one guy I met aside from Mike that was just an ass.
Thanks.
But I mean, that was expected. And to take it way back, like 4 flats on a Cadillac, on Sunday, that was the first time I had ever met Tomas. And the first time it's the first time we had all met each other. Mike and I had hung out, but the first time, and Tomas and I hit it off like that. Mike was he came up the rear a little slow, but I think by like Friday morning, Tomas, when he knew he was leaving, he was like, yeah, Mike's all right. So I mean, it was cool.
What are you talking about? Were you in the same room?
I'm just kidding.
No, it was great. It could not have been any more less stressful than what it was. And, unfortunately, I wasn't feeling all that well. So the first day of the show, my feet hurt.
Years old.
My back hurt. I ended up basically getting a sinus infection is really what I had all week. So I was hurt. Jesus, what are you, Edgar from?
No, that was you. This was Mike was when we got back to the room. Mike was like, "Oh, I'm just," and he laid on the couch, and everybody came over that night too, right?
Yeah.
And he's just like sitting on the couch, all of a sudden, like, what the
I'm
heck?
awake.
And we'd start saying, Mike, he's like, huh? What? Huh?
And he was dead set on getting in JB Vlogs. He was
that was so
set.
He was like a dude on the street with cars.
Can I get in your vlog?
I wanted to get in Joel's vlog.
Every time he had the camera up, I think Joel was just checking footage, and Mike's like,
I was.
Can I get in the vlog?
MTP flag.
Over here.
Tech examine.
That was awesome. But no, man, I could not have had more fun with all those guys.
Let's go ahead and let's put some light to the I'm nervous, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'll let
just tell it from
I'll let Tomas tell his side.
I'm not going to tell it. You tell your perspective.
All right. So before the show even started, Danny, who's in the room actually, who apparently has been with Spigen longer than I have, whatever. And
he may not have been there longer, but he's got probably more views.
Yeah,
exactly. More views. So, that's what matters.
Yeah, that's what matters. Even though I pushed the product when it was SGP, but that's okay.
None of those guys are there anymore. They don't even know that.
Exactly. So Danny was nice enough to get us hooked up to Spigen's private event. Spigen doesn't have a booth. They've never had a booth at CES. And
I didn't know that.
What's that? Yeah, they've never had a booth at CES. And they had this private room and to come up, and it was invite only. And Danny got us on the list and said, come on up and you meet Richard. He's a real nice guy, and see what's going on. And and there was actually a lot of us that ended up going up. And I think it kind of took the guy back a little bit. And at that point, we all walk in, and Larry and Tomas are the last two to walk in. And at this point, he turns and shakes Tomas's hand and goes, "Wow, I didn't expect all you guys, this many guys to be here." And we were just like, okay. And he's like, "All right, well, come on in, relax. There's drinks, there's food, sit down." And
at this point, Tomas looked like this.
Yeah, I'm all uncomfortable.
So-
Head on a
Eyeing the
swivel.
room down.
So no, this is a room, like a suite. So it's a pretty big room.
It wasn't that big though.
No,
You know,
I'm,
what I mean? Like it was people. Somebody who hasn't been to one of these before would expect. I mean,
Bigger.
it was a big, huge living room.
yeah, it was a big living room with
Yeah.
a foyer, and
Yeah.
the foyer had two
bar.
doors before you hit the main door to walk back out. And I guess were they both bathrooms? Or was
I guess.
one going into another bedroom? I don't know. Tomas wouldn't leave this area. He stayed there, and he was just kind of like,
Nervous.
Yep.
"What's going on here?"
Start wigging out like.
So he started wigging out.
He started reaching for his rifle, and I'm like, "You
Yeah,
don't have a
no
rifle.
rifle.
What are you doing?" Like,
Go, go, go! Man down, man down. No, and so I got him a water. I got Larry a water, and I think that's
Got
the
that water, and I was
think,
like,
I think that's the furthest you walked in. And we finally, one bathroom, one closet. Oh, and there's a full bar in there. Yeah, a full bar in the living room. And the guy says, okay, so we're there for a few minutes, and he goes, all right, everybody, come sit down. And we put a table together, and we got all the chairs. And meanwhile, Tomas is like in the back, and Tomas is like, I'm like, come on, sit down. And me and Larry are like,
no, wait, no. I was with Tomas when everybody sat down,
oh, okay.
And
you're
there was
right.
like,
no
go
more-
sit down, Larry. Go sit down.
and there was no more seats either
right.
for me nor Tomas. So I'm looking, and I'm thinking, I'm not even gonna sit down. I'm not too concerned. I'm just happy to experience this. I don't need to. He doesn't need to pitch me because I'm not. I understand what the deal is. He's got the two heavyweights, Mike and Danny.
Yep.
Or Danny is the heavyweight, and Mike is the very like the undercard.
Mike
like
is the coach.
Yeah.
like
Mike's the coach.
when the chicks fight at the beginning and nobody. That's Mike.
me.
Um,
I'm the referee.
but I looked at Tomas. I'm like, come on, let's go sit down. And he's like, no.
No.
And I'm like, come on, man, we got to sit down. And then I start walking over, assuming Tomas is literally
Right behind you.
behind me.
But
then I get to the table and I turn and they grab a chair or whatever.
and there was a
And,
chair.
and they grab two chairs.
I pulled a
And-
chair next to me,
Yeah, and I turned to look, and Tomas is still standing over there.
but he has the deer in the headlights. So like Larry and I are like, come on, Tomas. We're like, at one point I felt like I was trying to get my dog to come over because you can't hear. And I'm like,
Yep.
Tomas, come on
Couldn't
over.
go.
Come on over.
Nope.
And he's over there going,
Nope. I'm out.
I'm out.
Stop, buddy.
And you just see him slink out the door.
Yep. Hashtag I'm nervous. I'm out.
I'm
That's where
nervous.
that comes
I'm
from.
out. So, we were like,
So then he runs 15 miles to a different.
Well, hey, you got to put in. Hey, you
That's
didn't.
what
You
I'm
didn't
saying,
include the
jump in.
time. Didn't include the time. We had made a prior engagement with Omar at Geekster Labs to be there at 6. It was already 6:15,
yeah.
and that's where I was looking. I was like, "Oh shit, I'm late," and I started hoofing it over there.
Mhm.
That just compounded my decision to leave.
Right.
In addition to me being just super uncomfortable.
Right. And I don't think we had this discussion with Danny, but I didn't get a great vibe from the conversation, and it's nothing to do with Danny. Danny was the main reason why we were all there. And
Oh, for sure.
And
And
for
it wasn't any disrespect to Danny or
No,
anything.
no,
I really
not at all.
appreciate him getting me up there and everything.
no, and
We had a private conversation about it, and I just haven't had a chance to like express to Danny like it wasn't you or anything.
No,
it was just
it-
me
definitely.
feeling uncomfortable in a situation, and it's kind of fight or flight with me.
right.
You know, I'm a little off if you guys haven't noticed.
And
But
at that point,
was the reaction that I had.
I think the real meeting it was for Marco and Danny. I think they're the two heavyweights, and I think that's at the end of the day. We're just the small guys on the block.
And the other thing was too, we were in there after Tomas left, and then he wanted to talk with Danny, and I'm like, all right, cool, we out, and then we're ready. I'm like, let's go, and then Jonathan was on his way up.
Actually, Jonathan walked in. When
I was standing in Tomas's spot, ready to roll, Jonathan walked in with Josh and Kevin, and then we talked to them or whatever, and then I'm like, all right, cool. We met him, and it was awesome. Jonathan was super nice, but quite honestly, I think Jonathan's super, super nice. This doesn't take anything away from him, but I thought Josh and Kevin were super cool.
Yeah.
There was something, I don't know what it was, but I really sort of clicked with those guys. I thought they were really, really cool. What?
Exactly.
Yeah,
like they stood up. We sat at a buffet just to bring in some light. We sat at a buffet, and Josh and Kevin came over
Mm-hmm.
and stood and talked to us. Weird.
Yeah.
I was like, these guys are awesome.
Well, the same thing. Jonathan came down and sat on Mike's lap, which was odd, but it was cool that he
It was a
came
little
down.
weird.
He sat on
Cool.
your lap, I think.
That's
It's a
true. I
little
was
She
just
was-
trying to see how jealous you got.
'Cause you-
So, anyways, but then I was like, all right, Mike, let's roll. And he's like, well, and then I think he went to say bye to Jonathan or tell him we were taking off, and then Jonathan wanted us to wait.
Yeah, because
So then when he was done, we talked to him, and then we were out. And then we ran over to the thing, and then at that meetup,
you gotta back up for a second.
oh yeah, I don't want to get too deep into stuff. I was just gonna jump over stuff.
Listen, you get shit for free at CES, okay? Let's all be honest about it, all right? So there were swag bags at the Spigen, and I was like, all right, we're gonna roll, and I was like, and
I missed this.
like,
I was running down the
Jonathan's
strip.
like, no, man, just stick around. No, that's okay. I was like, we're gonna get going. No, we want to go with you. I was like, all right. Hey, Rich, are these bags over here for us? Jonathan looked at me and went, no, man, just wait. Let him offer it to you.
Meanwhile, I'm running down the strip, getting chased by Las Vegas Police Department because it looked like I stole something.
It was so funny. Well, you know what? That the best thing about that is when we. Oh, go ahead, Larry. Was there anything before?
No, I wasn't going to talk about the walk over. I was just going to jump into
Well,
the hangout.
the walk over, we were trucking trying to find a place to get a taxi because it was just too mobbed at the Wynn. And I was like, let's go back over to the Sands and see if it's any better because there was, usually it's a lot more packed over there when it comes to traffic coming in and out. So we start walking, and I realize we're starting to get past the Sands Expo. And I'm like, screw this, we're crossing now, there's no traffic. And apparently Josh had a coughing attack. Did you notice this, Larry?
No,
And had a hard time getting across the street.
I didn't even notice.
Because he was coughing, he started coughing up a lung and wasn't able to run across the street with all of us. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
This coming from Mike. Look at this shit.
I know. Can you believe it? By then,
But anyway, but
by
we
Wednesday,
jumped.
I was good.
Go ahead. Yeah, you were good. Yeah, you were great.
yeah.
But then we jumped going to the hangout. I mean, that's a whole nother one. Met Omar from Geekster Labs,
so
which
awesome.
I'd met a few days before at CES or the day before at CES.
He hugged you like a brother.
Yeah, he was funny. He came up to me. He's like, "Are you Larry Dickerson?" And I had my head down, and I'm like, again, really?
Again.
I don't have time for this. I'm trying to change a battery. And I'm like, hello, do you want a picture? What's up?
Autograph.
Autograph? No, but he was super cool, and I can't remember his buddy that he was with. They were both really nice.
Yeah.
But he was there. Quinn was there. He was super nice, and then the rest was all the cast of characters that we knew, except for
Saintly Great Mac.
Saintly Great Mac, which
Saintly
I didn't
Great-
get a chance to talk to those guys while I was there,
Right.
but they were there. But everybody else, I believe, was all people that we knew and were hanging with that week.
Yeah.
So,
But those guys at Cyber Acoustics and Macaru, is it Macaru?
Maroon.
Maru. Maru's got some really cool products. Really cool
Their
products.
cases are crazy.
Yeah, those cases are definitely something we haven't seen in a while. But I thought that was absolutely awesome. Yeah, Quinn was tall as balls.
what kind of comment is that? Tall as balls?
Somebody
What does
said,
that mean?
that's all right. Ben called him a tall drink of water. I'm like, whoa.
Whoa,
Somebody
whoa.
likes Quinn a little bit too much in the room.
I think, quite honestly, I think that was my Instagram picture. I hashtag tall drink of water or something like that. I put
Yeah.
something that I was like, oh, whatever. But
Something
to put it in
inappropriate.
perspective, in that picture, Quinn is towering over me, and I'm 6'3".
Yeah.
So, I mean, that dude is.
And he had
that dude is
hipster shoes
tall.
on, which are flat.
Oh,
So
man.
he was definitely
Snazzy Labs all day, every
snappy
day.
abs all day. Well,
He's snazzy.
I tell you, it was really cool. They had a separate room for the Maru stuff, and they went over everything. We had an awesome conversation with those guys. We put our input into things, and the Cyber Acoustics we went over a little bit and saw some of the stuff. I didn't get to see as much as I wanted to, but I thought it was a lot of fun.
Because you
And
were late.
everything, yeah, exactly.
I was on time.
Everything.
Sweat.
they
All
had-
sweaty.
I came in like,
They had beer.
Got
They had
water? Got
everything
water?
in there, and that was enough. But
Dunked his head in the ice.
And I wonder why the ice tasted a little funny.
Tomas is like, screw it. I'm on a roll. I'm taking the stairs. What? 36? I'm good.
I'm good.
But they were there like till 8:45. It was supposed to be over at 8.
Danny's right.
Yep,
Armando was there.
Oh, Armando, that dude.
We had met him earlier in the day.
Yeah, we met Armando earlier. That dude is so cool.
He was cool too.
Followed me on Twitter. I thought that was badass.
Oh, he did? Just now?
No, followed me on Twitter right at CES, like right after we met.
He was following me a long time ago.
He followed me on YouTube. Subscribe me on YouTube.
Thank you for that, Mike.
Yeah.
But no, it was like I said again. I can't say enough that there was just nobody that we met. Danny's a little suspect, but there was nobody else that we met.
Well, don't forget Marco.
Marco's always suspect.
Marco's an astronaut.
Marco is the usual suspect. He's in the lineup all the time.
Marco, Danny's the new oh Jesus, Danny's the new
Joe's a little suspect too. He be sneaky.
Sneaky.
Like you see his vlogs, he's like, and they come in and we're like, dude, why are you all happy in your vlogs? And then you come in here and you're quiet.
And then the video
I use up all my energy, man.
Yeah,
I use up all my energy.
But then I think he was up partying a lot too.
Yeah, but
from watching the vlog.
But then he's got the camera in our room and he's like, look at these speeds, like behind the screen, like they don't want to show anybody. I think we made him feel bad. But Danny's apparently the Asian Flossie Carter now.
That's what I heard, but I watched that in a vlog from like 8 months ago.
Carter. Yeah.
Anybody, just so you guys know, anybody that enjoyed Danny's vlogs as I did from CES,
awesome.
you can thank me because I called him out. He put it in the video that I called him out at the event, saying that if you're watching this video, it's summertime right now because Danny puts vlogs out every 6 months. So I forced his hand to actually put that out. But Danny makes great vlogs. Don't let him. He'll always say, "Oh, I don't make good videos."
Yeah.
I don't. Danny is a Debbie down player.
Hashtag down
Hashtag yes, because Danny is a pimp. Danny makes quality videos. He has good advice, and his vlogs are another level of vlog. So anything Danny puts out, don't let him
Debbie Downer.
Yeah, don't let Danny fool you.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
With super scientific.
I thought what was really cool about Cyber Acoustics and those guys. They said, don't leave yet. We want to get together and talk to you guys. And they were like, all this cool stuff. And
Tomas said, what?
What? I'm out.
I'm leaving.
I'm out. Not again.
He started going out the window.
It's going to get a little rapey in here. It's going to get a little rapey.
And they not only gave the special attention and talked to everybody on the same level, but they had this. They gave it really cool Cyber Acoustics bag, Bluetooth speaker, which is decent. And the pen and the Have you tried it yet?
Yes.
What do you think?
It's serviceable. It's not fantastic, but it's a Bluetooth speaker. My favorite part of it though is it's got the built-in 120 prongs.
Don't need to deal with any cables.
Yeah, and it folds right back up. So literally, even if I'm in here and the kids want to listen to stuff and I'm editing, so it can't be off my computer, I'll just plug it into the wall to make sure it doesn't die. And the kids are dancing around. Yeah. It's actually it's pretty cool actually.
You know what I found once?
Do you guys know?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. No. Go ahead.
Do you know what Cyber Acoustics their main customers are?
No.
Education.
Oh really?
Yeah. So I came home and did a little research into them, and they sell high into education.
Shooter.
So
I came home with research.
I was seriously impressed by just them in general, because if they're making these things for education to improve educational environments, I'm all for it, man.
Yeah. You know what? To get the sound a little bit better, I messed with my EQ on the iPhone. So if you got a device that has an EQ on it for your sound, go and mess with that a little bit. You can find a pretty good sound on there that'll give you a nice bass, a little bit of treble that you want. So I was pretty happy with it. But yeah, it's just a good speaker. I think it's like what did I say, $20 or $30?
It's decent.
Yeah. So, it's...
Let it go, Mike. Let it go.
No, really.
You're killing the cat. You're killing the cat.
It's just decent. So... killing the cat. My dog has a toy like that. It's like an empty bottle. It's like shoved up a toy's ass. And it's just...
Well, it would be good if we could hear it from a good microphone.
I know. I apologize for the microphone, but...
Apologize again.
Audio sounds good.
Apologize again. I'm sorry. So,
Sorry.
with all that being said, with all the experience that happened at CES, would you guys do it again?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if
It would take better planning on the personal side, and I don't know if Tomas, but for me, it would take more planning. Like I would have to prep for it financially earlier in the year.
Yes.
yeah, I also think that if the three of us are going to be doing what we did again next year, or whoever is with us, we may not necessarily need to bring all the equipment that we brought.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
You know-
Mine's going to be.
Like, well, if, for instance, if the GH4, if whatever, if one or two GH4s, if you guys have them by then, I think is enough.
You got 2 or 3. Can we borrow?
I got one.
Borrow some?
So, like, let's say if I have a GH4, just use that, and then
Danny says you're out and he's in, Mike.
and then I'm
Done,
never out,
Danny.
Danny.
Done. I've been waiting for somebody to step up.
Shut up.
Nah, but literally, all you need is a cage, and external recorder of some sort,
Mm-hmm.
and your camera. You can hit
Right.
the floor with that. That's it.
Right.
If you have a team of 2 or 3, that's all you need. If it's you by yourself, you definitely need a monopod.
Yeah. And I don't even know, if you even need to bring a laptop with you. I don't think it's really that urgent to get anything done. It was nice, maybe, Larry, it was nice for him to have the laptop. I don't know.
Well,
I wouldn't take a laptop with you out on the show floor or
on
anything.
the
I'd just
floor?
leave it
No,
in the
no,
room.
No. I mean, to me, I know there's a lot of guys that put stuff out really fast, but if you look, I mean, I think everybody in the room or anybody that has tech in their sub box was flooded.
All right.
The Verge, CNET, a few other people, but they'll put 30 videos 1 minute long just talking real quick about it. But we decided that long before we went out there that we were just going to do like recap videos because we couldn't see.
We're not your breaking news sources.
No,
Right.
you're not going to. We would have had 5 views on every video and it would have been a waste of time.
Yeah, it would have been terrible. Absolutely terrible. I love the idea of the shoots that you guys did. I thought those were absolutely done just to the nines. I thought those things were kick-ass. And
Well, Larry's was good. Larry effed up my wall stuff
yours was fine. But I want to do more of that next year. I think if
on
we
the
get
strip, walking around on the strip.
and talking, maybe interviewing people on the street, man on the street type stuff. I don't know. Stuff we can think of that'll be easier to do. But
I thought, but quite honestly, I'm extremely happy with what I put out. I have enough to put out. I mean, quite honestly, I have enough to probably put out 2 to 3 more.
that's what
5 to 6 minutes videos. But
Yeah.
I'm even thinking about just doing a highlight with just audio or just music, just some, because I went through some of it. And I got some really cool shots of like the drones and some vehicles and
Right.
And I hate to just let it sit there, but I don't know. I may or I may not. It depends. But yeah, I definitely have enough to do quite a few more videos. It's just I'm so happy with what I did there that, and now that I'm gone, like if we were still there the next day and we could have filmed another me walking around like Tomas did, I think that I probably would have put out 1 more video. But
Right.
that's probably about it.
Right. And I think those were. I mean, I don't think those were too difficult to do. If I would have gotten my ass out of bed, and there was 3 of us there doing that, it probably would have been even easier to get something done like that. But
It would another thing, I think if I go back, I need a better vlogging camera, and I would like to put some high quality stuff like walk around with the M2 or something, the Sony RX,
right.
something like that. I think that would have added. The reshoot's really good video, but can you imagine having put that content together with the Sony RX?
Quite honestly, I would. I'm thinking next year. By then, the M4 will be out, the Sony.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably what I'm going to have. That's probably going to be my main camera.
4K for 1K. Hello.
That's not even. I mean, that's not bad because the
That's not even a joke. I mean, you
No,
could
the
literally
M3
do a good.
yeah, because the M3 is like $900 or $850 when it came out. So the M4 is probably going to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not super happy with the quality of my vlogs, but I'm learning.
I think with vlogs, you don't have to necessarily. I don't know. That doesn't have to be
something
perfect.
that's something I struggled with too. I used the M3 for my vlogs for a long time, and it's just like
You don't want to carry it around.
it's unnecessary.
Did you see? I posted on Twitter. There's the vlogging stick that I used the vlogging stick the first year I went to CES. Did you see that on Twitter, Larry?
Oh, I saw it. I didn't watch it. I don't watch your old.
No.
videos.
But I posted a picture of the vlogging stick. I was like, look, I really was using this back in 2011, the first year I went.
Yeah.
And I was the idiot that was like, hey, look at me.
Tomas, answer that in the thing because I already know your answer.
Tomas, is a Sigma lens worth it? Yeah, 100%.
Anybody.
Too. Yeah. Once you fool with that thing, I shot Tomas with it. That's why his videos look so tight. And that thing is.
By next CES, I will buy the Sigma and the Metabones. It might take all year.
I'll have like 3 or 4 of them by then.
But it's a long
Right when
story.
Tomas and I are ready to buy it, he'll hoard all the Metabones.
Yeah, you will.
find
Buy
it.
all 7 of
That
them.
ain't gonna happen. So, all right. So, is there anything else we want to talk about as far as CES goes? I mean,
Yes, I'm going to put out a video before the next CES talking about first year things that you need to know.
we can do that in July.
And what I learned mostly is that don't depend on maps and mobile devices on navigating your way through. Don't try to map it.
Mike.
Or Mike, because you're going to be 100% wrong. Anyways, just go and walk the floor. If you can, in the first day, walk them all and plot them out in your mind. Like, who do you want to go back and see?
Take notes. Take pictures of places that you saw.
Yep,
You
because
wanna
the
go
first
back.
day is super crazy. Everybody's packed every booth. You're not going to really get a hands-on with anything.
Mhm.
But walk every convention center, hall, or whatever.
Mhm.
Hit the central late in the day on the first day because all of the main PR people are there. But
Mhm.
hit everything in the first day and just plot out in your mind where you want to go back the next day,
Right.
and then
You also
shoot your
gotta-
video.
Talk about clothing. Comfortable shoes, comfortable clothing.
Shave cream.
Shave cream, hand sanitizer, stuff like that.
That's
Very,
a must.
very important.
Or
And
or a big bubble.
or a big bubble, yeah.
Screw you, Geeky Nerd Dad. You don't need a collab. You're going to be in like the hottest video of the year. Why are you always trying to... Danny,
I'm
let's
just
do
saying,
it.
man.
Yeah.
Danny's 15 minutes down the road from me. I'm exaggerating. He's 45. Down the road from me. We don't
No.
hang unless we're at CES.
No.
Wait
No.
a minute. The
I'm gonna-
GH5 will be out by the time Mike buys the Metabones. It's not gonna be GH5. They're skipping it. GH6. Oh, shh.
Whoa.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything.
Inside info.
Inside info. Shh. You didn't hear it from me. Oh, Marco, you the man. You hilarious.
Um,
So
yeah,
there-
that's my advice to anybody that's planning on going next year.
that'll be some great advice.
Don't even take a camera the first day.
Well, I don't know about that.
No, if you need to take 2 cameras for sure. You need to take a vlogging camera and your main DSLR or mirrorless, whatever.
Mhm.
That first day you should walk out and go with just your vlogging camera and just to get go walk all the convention centers, film some stuff, and
Mhm.
just have at it. The next day, plan where you're gonna go and hit those places up. Before the day's out, I wish Larry, Mike, and I went out and did more of the walking type stuff. I can't do that by myself,
Mhm.
And I think Larry's was fantastically shot. Whoever did the day 2 stuff
You're welcome.
was
You're
welcome.
it's
Hey,
amazing.
Thanks for
That was
letting us.
amazing.
Thanks for
You know
letting
what,
us
Mike?
use your camera.
You know what, Mike?
Tomas.
Thank you for sleeping in, so I had Tomas do that. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, Mike.
I appreciate that.
Because when you were standing, like the light and just the depth of field, it was just like it was professionally done.
was
We
alright.
should hire that guy.
It's all right.
We're bringing Appleman next year.
Hey, I gotta
All right.
What happened? Why'd you stop?
I don't know why I
Let's
stopped.
read Danny's comment. No.
Can't read a comment in a podcast.
Do we got anything? I think we're pretty much wrapping, right?
Yeah, I think we're pretty much done.
I wanted to. This is totally off topic, but this is something that really cool happened to me last night. And I don't know if you guys have watched on Twitter or whatever, but Dom tweets me. I can't remember the exact chronological order, but he tweets me something like, "This is epic" or something. And it's a picture. And I'm like, and it's a picture of me next to a rooster outside of my work, and I'm like, I go, where did you get that? Like, I'm thinking, okay, maybe I posted it real early on Instagram or something, because it was like 4 years ago when I first got down to Tennessee. And the story behind it, I said it on Twitter, was I heard a rooster outside my office. Like, I thought it was inside the plant somewhere. And I'm like looking everywhere for a rooster. And it ended up being right outside of my window making noises. And I ended up finding it. And who took the picture is somebody else. But it's me, like, standing next to the rooster, like, what up? Or sitting, like, plopped down because it was in a cage. And I asked him, I'm like, where did you see that? And he's like, you put it at the end of one of your videos. And I remembered, like, way back when, I used to put, like, little pictures of, like, crazy pictures of my kids or me or something at the end, like, after the very end of the video. It would pop up after a second. And so, I mean, Dom was watching.
He's bringing it in.
And I felt. It's rolling over.
For everybody listening to the podcast, you have to go to @MacMixing and look up, search down it through his history, and you'll see the picture of Larry with the rooster.
But Dom was last night for some reason watching a year-old video of mine.
Creepy.
And watched it all the way past the end to see that.
Probably was using it for background noise, but that's okay.
He said, I don't care. And he said something that really, he goes, you'll find your true fans when you put Easter eggs and stuff. And I thought about how I had done a video and put somebody in it, and they didn't notice they were in it. I'm not going to say any names. But so anyways,
Tomas.
I was
What did I do?
No, I was saying.
I stopped listening.
You can't see this in the podcast. So anyways, I thought that was really cool. And that's one thing that, like, Dom has been, I think for all of us would agree, Dom has been one of the ones that have really helped me, like, behind the scenes type stuff that will give me, like, little pointers or just sort of some words of encouragement to keep going or something like that. So, but it just shocked me last night. I'm like,
that was awesome.
I told my wife, I think I tweeted Dom, I'm like, I go, yeah, I used to put that in there, but it didn't matter. I had like 5 subscribers when I did it. So even if somebody, nobody knew, to even whatever. So I was thinking about maybe bringing that back. I got some more weird pictures that I could throw up. So
that's funny. Hey, Armando's in the room. Armando Ferreira.
Oh, awesome.
You know what's funny? He was only there one day.
Samsung booth and saw the SSD.
The SSD, yep.
Yeah, he was there one day, and we saw him like two times in one day. What are the odds?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Armando, we went to go see that Samsung thing. That thing was badass.
Hey, Danny, how come you don't have a verified check by your account, man? Armando got that pimp check. Ooh, Danny needs that.
What's up with that?
I don't know. We need Danny verified. I think Justin's even got his verification.
Oh,
that hurts. Ouch. So,
isn't Justin Danny's son?
That's what I heard. I read that somewhere. I thought
on the next episode, Justin and Danny.
Danny's still waiting for his hooded sweatshirt with the 100K in gold.
In gold.
Danny Winchett.
Oh, Armando, we're a fan of yours too, man.
Yeah, come on, Armando.
Oh man, you know what? We're not even going to get into that right now. So, everyone, I want to thank you all for joining us on the podcast here, and as always, we want to make sure that you guys know who's here and where to find everybody. Tomas, where can everybody find you?
Oh man, I need to change like my handles or something to where you guys can actually find me. Just at Twitter, TOMAS_VILLEGAS. Villegas. Super accentuated. And then YouTube, I started my channel after the fact. I already chose my personal URL, so it's youtube.com/TEVILLEGAS. And if you search me, you'll find me. Don't click on the surfer guy. Click on the guy that does tech videos.
What?
The dude looks really nervous.
He's out. And of course, my wonderful co-host Larry, who just doesn't stop. Larry, where can everybody find you?
I'm everywhere at Geeky Nerd Dad.
You hear that? Everywhere.
This would have been a way better way if somebody says, "Hey, where can people find you?" If I said, "Hey, you can find me anywhere at Geeky Nerd Dad," instead of being
what an idea.
Yeah. So
of course,
what about going and subbing to his channel and then unsubbing?
No, don't do that because I'm
Hey,
getting
right?
close. I'm getting close to $7,000.
$7,000 coming up. That's awesome. Everybody's links are down below, so you can find them there. You can find me youtube.com/techexamined and twitter.com/mtpflyers. You follow me there. Or TechExamined for our info for the website and the channel. And, of course, for more information on the podcast, it's at Unfiltered Now on Twitter. So definitely check that out there.
Go follow them.
Go follow us, and we got more stuff coming up. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Tomas, thanks for coming in and telling us about CES. And, we got more coming up soon. Some pretty cool guests trying to get lined up over the coming weeks, and we're real excited. So thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you later.
Peace.
Peace.